Okay, I think what I'm trying to do right now is figure out what the background for this should be. Maybe it can look like the entrance to a dungeon. And I'm always a little enamored with the original Zelda. Dungeon entrances and concepts. Just makes me smile. There's just so much stuff out there. Hard to see what I might have been thinking would work here in the background. We can see what that looks like a little bit better, I guess. Yeah, this looks like some sort of post over a entrance or something, but I think if I were to just more or less use something, this would look good. Also kind of has that low angle. Now, of course, Link isn't in this. It's like one of the few ones that don't feature Link. It still looks like a fun challenge. So let's do it. Still on the lookout for any serious bugs or lag or dropped frames. It's fairly recently updated / refreshed system. We all know how advisable it is to update your system, aka avoid at all costs, but there's always a tipping point where the problems being caused by bugs are worse than the problems caused by updating your operating system. It's almost like a snake shedding its skin, or an insect, or like a crab molting. It's gotta be severely uncomfortable. You wouldn't do it unless you had to, but to not do it is death. Let's see if I can do justice to this original geometry. First, it felt like I could go hog wild with the perspective, but this guy already sort of establishes, these guys almost sort of establish this baseline perspective. It's going to ground us a bit. And there's some fun themes here. These pointy, portcullis, approximating teeth here at the entrance. Sort of complement or rather echo the little spikes all over the Moblin fellow. And then the angular carved structure base of the rest of the entrance works with our living sandstone sculpture. Enemy. Ancient Hylian architecture is pretty much all primitives. Simple, platonic shapes like spheres and cubes and pyramids, cones. And then this pedestal over here thing. We'll find a place for it over here. goes over here, I don't know. But we'll put something there. Something to be decided is how to balance those sizes of the thing on the side versus the entrance. Should they be the same size? Here they're sort of close but not exactly. Is there a reason for that? Should we find a reason? It's not the world's biggest deal. More so, I don't want to end up with a full looking sphere like right there. I feel like that would be drawing too much attention, lending importance to something that isn't intended. It's not important, so I don't want to do that. Give it a kind of fun lighting. Goes all the way up. I wonder if there's another statue or something we could... Doesn't have to be anything complete. It just look like remnants of something. do have fun. Old things that look like doorways or windows that just jut out in these dungeons and don't lead anywhere. There's all sorts of traps. It's kind of fun. Just to think about some lighting that we're not even ready for at this point, but okay, this is killing me, so I'm gonna do something about it now. The Landmala this antenna needs to be on the other side of this rock. I'm also toying with the idea that these could feel more like sifting dunes. Expert dune drawer all at once, but then not so much in a way that more effect than is warranted at the moment, but it needs that separation, obviously, but it's not been clear as of yet in the drawing that that's what's going to happen. I think I do like the shifting dunes. And leave that there to make sure it gets implemented. The texture of the dirt was too noisy. Like, that's too much. Too much texture, too even. Just feeling very, sort of arresting the competition. in a fairly noisy image already. So it's okay to sleep on this stuff a little bit. Take our time. Definitely more than a few. Zelda dungeons have areas where, despite being surrounded by architecture, you have these low-lying sand pits. It's feeling like it's something out of a mummy movie. And I didn't mention it, but I also clearly adjusted the eye so that it's just going to be reading a lot better, that the eye doesn't see him perfectly yet. And frankly, maybe even more. Searching, but not seeing. Not yet. And there are 1,000 Zelda enemies where the whole point is to sneak up behind them and strike at, you know, their butt, basically. That's feeling good. All the cool laser happening here. The rest of this background will probably just be mayhem and particles and dust, so we can leave that be. The Octorok will clean up in a bit. All right, let's tackle this thing. In some ways, I feel like Link should be bigger. I'm not sure if that's the case, but it feels like he should be a little bit bigger. Maybe if I take these two, Link and the Vire, scale them up a bit. So the Vire is a little bit cropped. Okay, it looks like I can basically test out that. I feel like this still works. I wasn't loving the way that the distortion was trying to have it both ways. The wide angle lens. We're going to move forward as if that is a final decision that we won't regret. So that's okay. There's another snake back here that got lost, and I'm not going to be able to do much with him unless I... There it is. Well, there's two of them. There may be two too many, but be okay with it for now. Alexa, welcome. More demonic gases, yes. I think we were talking yesterday and it feels like last week. It's funny. I'm trying to fill in these backgrounds a little bit. So earlier I added some details. These are details to sleep on, so we'll see if I like them again tomorrow, but I used this as a reference, this original Zelda sketch. I just ported it over to repurpose it here. Okay. That may mean I've been consistent in getting up early and doing this for a couple of days now. So, but welcome back. I'm going to go for 30 more minutes because it's getting to be time for the morning routine in my household. But every little bit helps. I looked at your art, your emotes. It's cute stuff. Cute and spooky. Well, kill some time with me. Let's see here. Link to the past dungeon. With some of this stuff, and I can, so it's not too boring, bring around what I'm actually searching for. I'm trying to find good examples of the architecture in these dungeons that I can sort of just steal a little bit. Like this might be good. Oh boy. Let's see here. Here. Good, you do that. I'll do this. What is this? A new file format? AVIF? That's a thing? Okay. Well, here we have some clear architecture, but do I love it? Let's see here. I don't think so. I think I need something more deserty. Or the Zelda Desert Dungeon. Chibi Biker Boy. That's awesome. Are you drawing a motorcycle as well? Only asking out of total fear, as bikes and motorcycles and wheels in general are difficult for me to draw. I find them very challenging. Okay, let's see here. I can't promise this won't pop up on my screen immediately. Okay, this looks awesome. Can I show it to the audience? Too late. Looks full done. This is awesome. Well done. Well, you didn't let the bike intimidate you. That's good. You saw it here first, folks. The exclusive. You can't have it. Rad. Well, your friend is lucky to have a talented artist friend who will draw amazing things. Is that to be a product or a gift? Or both? It all looks done except, like, presumably you're gonna render the face and hat a bit more? Okay. But I like it. I mean, I shouldn't presume, but everything else looked highly shaded and rendered, so... I guess, as you said, the jacket was half done. Well, I admire that you didn't just start with the easy parts. Or maybe you did, but to me the hard part would be the bike, and you got that knocked out first, so... I think what I can try and do No, you did a great job. It reads as metal. Looks good. Researched chrome and blending brushes. Well, it's probably distracting for me or for you if I'm asking you questions, because then you have to type, don't you? But it looks great so far. Here I'm exploring different solutions for what this dungeon architecture could be. And I'm just gonna keep it. Oh, good, okay. Gonna have to explore some options. Want it all to work with perspective, but also thematically. I don't want to lose what's important. Shape and size of this thing that Link is hiding behind has to be big enough for him to hide behind it. And I'm no perspective genius, so we're gonna make a lot of mistakes. Make every mistake in the book. It's fast as possible. Did you ever see the movie Desperado with Antonio Banderas? There's this cool scene. He's just been in a gunfight, and he's... No, not a gunfight. I guess it maybe was a gunfight. It was the guy with knives. The actor Danny Trejo plays the guy with knives, who doesn't talk. And Antonio Banderas has a encounter with him and ultimately defeats him, but as a result is very seriously wounded with knives, and he's bleeding. But he also has to sort of hide out because he's on the run in a way that doesn't cause too much attention. He's delirious, he's losing blood. He's comes across this kid who he's giving guitar lessons to. And the kid has no idea what's going on. The kid's like, hey, check out this song. Come with me, walk with me over here, you know, or whatever. And he goes with the kid. And as he's walking, he's leaning up against the wall. There's this great shot where the kid is playing and walking, and he's sort of smearing his blood against the wall, and it's all dripping down as he walks. And I've just had an inspiration to sort of have some of that here, where it's almost like it's just to show like the wounds, you know, show like what a desperate situation he's in. A little bit of that. What do you think? Too much? Yeah, they were. Yeah, me too. I don't really watch new movies. I just pull up the old ones. Watch those instead. I have to make it work compositionally. It feels a little out of place. It needs to be more meandering. Maybe he was just scooting across the wall a little bit. Maybe just lower. Okay. I didn't catch that. I'm like, that's kind of bad for me. Like, I'm not supposed to, I'm a storyboard artist in real life, so I'm supposed to stay on top of big cinema. I'm glad you liked it, though. I'll check it out eventually, but I'm more interested in going back and seeing films that came out when I was a kid that were influential, but I never saw. Classics or even silent films have a lot to teach us. That feels a little okay, a little more okay. This might be too much altogether, but I wanted to check out the concept of it. What anime are you watching? I've seen limited amounts, of course, most of the Miyazaki films, but not all. Not the new one. Reincarnated as a slime. My dad is a big anime weeb, and he totally would know what you're talking about. He totally would have seen that. I think he's told me about it. When I was growing up, it felt like animes were these sort of under the radar kinds of mature movies that kids could get away with renting at the video store because they're cartoons. So it was like, oh, what's nothing wrong with cartoons, right? Here you go, kid. You can rent it. Meanwhile, it's like incredibly violent and scary, or had all this sex and violence. Okay. My dad really likes the romance ones. There's one, I'm gonna butcher the name, but it's one of those absurd titles like, yes, I'm a scientist from the future, but now I'm an apothecary in a fantasy world or something like that. Anyway, he's been liking that one. And yeah, we would rent like Ninja Scroll, you know, perfect classic violent 80s anime, 80s, 90s anime. I haven't seen it in years. I don't know if it still holds up, but I remember it being mind-blowing at the time. He's a very cool dad. For the ground, I think I can get away with sort of cheating this repeating alternating brick pattern that follows the perspective, but then only doing it sparingly, whereas for the most part, it's just covered in dust texture, giving a sense of an orderly floor, but not something that feels so rigid viewer's imagination can complete it, do the hard work for me. Here, you draw it. Draw it in your own brain. Leave me alone. My brain is breaking trying to figure out this perspective. I'm not doing a very good job of keeping it correct, but I suppose this looks pretty good. I just have to keep it consistent here in the background. Here. My dad is like my best friend, practically. It was a lot harder growing up. I think he is very relaxed. I think he's very relieved now that he can just be a grandparent. I think he felt a lot of pressure to be a good dad, and as a result, judged himself a little too harshly with things. Anyway, there's still hope your dad becomes a weeb. Am I using that phrase right? Is like a weeb is a yeah. I feel like that weeb is a term I picked up from my dad when he was making fun of himself. This feels potentially consistent. I'm trying to convince my dad to stop working out. So, there's that. I wonder if I have any photos. My dad is ridiculously buff. He's got, you know, what you might call an obsession with his body image. Well, couch potatoes, of course, bad. Yes, you definitely work on that. My father might easily qualify as a. Boy, there's a potential. Here's a fun thing. Okay, here. This isn't too bad. This doesn't out him at all, but this is me and my dad. So you can see he's very buff. Like pure muscle, zero body fat. So, but he has his own issues where, you know, he has trouble making friends and being like a normal person. So, there's trade-offs with everything. But maybe all dads are like that. Yeah, that's a bad indicator for health in general. Well, your dad sounds like he's got it all figured out, so... Ooh. Well, is it soda? I don't know. Not that I'm going to be much help trying to diagnose anything. I'm trying to drink less myself these days. I think my dad is the same way. I think my dad is the exact same way. Exercise then. Well, we all have different metabolisms. Oh, good. It sounds healthy. Sounds good. It's always a weird balance. I'm like I'm a person that more or less has a high metabolism, but it started to catch up with me, and I've definitely, now I'm skinny fat, where I don't have any muscle, or I don't. It's not like I've got a huge body, but I definitely need muscle tone, and something to be working on. Because like having an acceptable body type was just default for me. I never had to get into any kind of good habits. Right, I feel like that's normal and an unfair thing, but a normal reality. As I've got older, I understand the way that, I don't know if I understand it, but the role that genetics and even the way that bacteria colonize our bodies differently, and how our genetics play with those factors. You realize so much of this is we can influence, but we can't, control necessarily what's going on in our bodies. Just because they're our bodies, that's not really how it works. It's hard to control our minds even. Yes. Vastly different things at work, and depending on what you're doing, what's going on in your life, your body will react different ways. All of a sudden, this drawing is looking cool. It's really hard to carve out time for yourself, though, to make those things happen. I have to get up super early just to do this drawing stuff, and it's this is at a time when it would be a perfect time to get up and work out, but I'm trying to do this instead. Oh well. Oh, let's just say bye, because I'm definitely gonna hop off in a second. I'm gonna do a quick little sketch of this eye, and that'll be that. But thank you so much for coming by. Fun little group drawing sesh. It's been interesting drawing with an audience again, with real people hanging out. Hasn't been that way for me for a long time. Okay, that feels like a good place to end it, right there. Got all those pieces in place. We made good progress. Made some changes here. These are desert dunes now instead of just this rough texture. We've got a background here now, and a background here, and this was a tough one, so I'm glad that's in there. All right, Malexa. Until next time.